Good evening, Facebook fans and friends. How are you this evening? I was telling Damascene Pierre Paul,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Thank you.
I was telling him that Gilbert and I have done a lot of shows, and it never ceased to amaze me as many people as we have interviewed. There's almost many, many more to interview, and they have these awesome careers and these awesome stories that we're dying for you to hear. So this evening we're featuring Damascene, and he's going to tell us about his fabulous career. He was a former manager for Patti LaBelle.
Yes.
Oh, you tell it.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yes. I used to manage Patti LaBelle from 2009
Uh-huh.
from 1999 to 2009 for 10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
What a terrific experience.
Yes.
What did you do for Patti LaBelle?
Initially, I was Miss LaBelle's bodyguard for
Mhm.
about a year or two. And Miss Pat, being the personable woman that she is, she really liked to ask you questions and see where your head is at. And she used to always have conversation with me about the industry and decisions. And she was impressed with my decisions. And eventually, from a bodyguard, I became her manager.
Okay. And she's a legend,
Absolutely.
Philadelphia homegrown.
Absolutely.
I can't say a fantastic singer,
Yes, she
a
is.
beautiful person.
Yes, she is.
She has so many gifts that God has given her,
Absolutely.
and she shares it with people.
Yes, she does. And what people don't understand about Miss LaBelle is that actually when we used to do casino gigs, a lot of times sometimes they want the act to go a certain way, like sometimes walk through the game room. But Miss Pat would always want to walk through the service area
Okay.
because she really enjoy when the service people, the people who made the beds and stuff, would come up to
Yeah,
her. And she
yeah.
would stop and talk to them and give them, sign her autograph. She was
Personable,
always generous
yes.
like that. Yes, she was very caring to people.
What learnings did you learn from working with Patti
Oh,
LaBelle?
Miss Pat was a consummate pro. She would always, it was her style. She had a certain style about when things bothered her or she didn't like the sound. It was a way that she would address it. She tried her best never to insult people or make people
Right.
feel uncomfortable because she had a very loving way about her.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from that, from
Okay.
Miss Pat.
And after you left Patti LaBelle, what did you do after that?
Oh,
Where did
actually,
you-
I managed Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas.
Yes, I have
Okay.
a partner of mine, a gentleman by the name of Lamar Burno. He was actually managing Mr. Lucas. He knew my assistant Stephanie Maddox, so he contacted her and said, "Do you think Damascene would be interested in helping me manage Frank Lucas?" So I met Mr. Lucas at Michael's Diner out in Jenkintown.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Mr. Lucas and I and Lamar and Stephanie had a great conversation. And the following day, Mr. Lucas wanted to meet with me again, and we met at it's the old diner now, the Oak Lane Diner,
Okay.
on top of Broad Street and 66. And Mr. Lucas was very impressed with me, and I presented him with a contract. He signed the contract, and I had this watch. I had this rose gold watch that was given to me as a gift, an Invitica watch. And Mr. Lucas was so impressed with the watch, he kept staring at the watch. So I said, "Mr. Lucas, you like the watch?" He said, "I love that watch." So I took the watch off my wrist, and I put it on his wrist, and he
Wow.
was like, "Thank you, Dom, thank you." I said, "Sir, you have more time now." So
Oh.
I managed
That
to
was cute.
wind up managing
Yeah.
him for like about 5 years, five and a half years after that.
And learnings from
Oh
Mr.
my
Lucas?
goodness, yes. And Mr. Lucas was a lot like Miss Pat in a sense as far as
Yeah.
being a disciplinarian. And he
Uh-huh.
always wanted you to be a gentleman. He always demanded that you be respectful. And that's the way Miss LaBelle was. Miss Pat was always about carrying yourself with dignity and pride and being a upstanding person. That meant a lot to her. And believe it or not, Mr. Lucas was very much similar. He was the same way. He always
Isn't it?
expected you to be a gentleman and behave yourself. And he believed strongly in family. Yes.
And you have such a personality, they just took to you right away.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I think any time you have any blessings, it doesn't come from you. It comes from a higher source.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that.
And do you play an instrument?
No, I actually, well,
Because you've been, there's like
Well,
music,
it's-
film,
that's
it's
true.
all.
Well, when I was a
Yeah.
child, my mother, I went to Catholic school for 9 years, St. Athanasius Catholic School up in West Oak Lane.
Okay.
My mother used to send me to piano school. I used to go. It used to be a Yamaha piano store on 77th and Ogons. And in the basement, they had piano lessons. So my mother used to send me there every Saturday to take piano lessons. I love music, but she couldn't afford it, so I stopped going. However, I have an ear for music. I usually have a good ear for good sound. I have good ear for when the instrument is right. So I guess I am a musician in a somewhat way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think about when I listen to you speaking and you're talking about being with Patti LaBelle. I know that you had heard such good music.
Oh my goodness!
Such good music, and
Absolutely.
then the film. You've learned so many things.
Yes.
That you're able to give us some inspirational words about that, because although you were her manager, it was certain things that you had to get accustomed to in the music world.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Her rehearsals.
Oh.
How hard she worked at her rehearsals. So for all of you guys out there that's wanting to get into the music business or in the music business, Damascene can tell you how hard it is, how hard she worked.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Oh, Miss LaBelle, her rehearsals were like shows.
Yeah, I can bet.
She went very hard in her rehearsals, and she was a perfectionist in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
She knew when the drummer was not right. She knew when the instruments was not playing right, and she would make her corrections there. So, yeah, she was a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
And she treated her people very well. So everybody loved to play for her. Everybody loved working for Miss Pat because she was that kind of person. And she would cook sometimes and bring food to rehearsal. Yes, she was always like a mom to everybody. Yes.
Well, what are you doing now? Are you still working and doing films? I mean, with films?
Oh, yes, I am. Actually, right now what brings me here is the artist that I was working with today, Billy Ivory.
Billy Ivory.
The soulful, inspirational artist. That's a term that I like to use to give it a different flavor than.
He's great, isn't he?
Oh,
he's
Billy's
great.
amazing.
He's great.
And thanks to T Life, because T Life is his manager, and I'm just working with Billy and assisting and helping out with T Life. So I'm very grateful for that, because T Life is a well knowledgeable, very experienced icon in Philadelphia music himself. So yes,
he's a great guy. And when we started the indie show, he must have given me a 50 people interview, right?
Awesome.
Just right off the bat.
Yeah, he's well connected.
He's connected, and he was very helpful.
Yes.
In getting the indie show started. So I want to thank you, T. If you're listening, I want to thank you for that. So you're working with Billy, and what are you doing for him?
Well, Billy is an artist that wants to expand his
he does everything.
Music, absolutely. And he is also a pastor. And the music that he has out now is really about the times. It's about bringing people together and curbing this violence that's out here. And that's something that's right up my alley, because I also work with the youth. When my earlier years with Miss LaBelle, yes, I was able to, with Miss Pat's permission, she allowed me to use her name and likeness, and we created a football league called the LCFL. It stood for LaBelle Community Football League.
Oh, okay.
And Miss Pat was very kind enough to use her name and likeness, and I created this trophy that actually was the symbol of this crown, and this crown is the crown of Haile Selassie. For most people who don't know who Haile Selassie is the direct descendant of the Queen of Sheba. Okay. So his line of ancestry goes way back to King Solomon, and he was the last known emperor of Ethiopia, and he stood for bringing everybody together, especially people of color from all over the world, letting us know that we had a great destiny. So I wanted to create the football league in his honor. So we created a trophy that looked like a Vince Lombardi trophy that had a crown around it and the football. And so we would have a national championship game, and it would be in California, because I met a gentleman by the name of Tony Reed, who had a team out in California called the Inglewood Blackhawks. And so Tony, the first year we did an experimental where we just partnered up. Tony was impressed that I did everything I said I was going to do in helping the league. And so Tony became a full-fledged member of the LCFL. And Tony's team is like a top 10 super semi-pro team. I mean, the way he treats his players, His teams are always excellent. They're always ranked in the top 10 in the nation. So we had this national championship game where the winner in Philadelphia would play the winner in California. Now, you have to remember, we have young men who have probably never left the community, never left the neighborhood. We put them on airplanes, flew them to California. They had a whole entire weekend where they had a banquet, they had a meet and greet, and then the following day, they had a big game. This is stuff that college players would experience, but we were doing it with young men. And we were also showing America and the world that you can have a street guy who didn't go to college, right?
That's what we need.
Who didn't go to college and yet, teach him discipline, teach him character, develop him, and then allow him to compete with someone who went to a top 10 college. And some of these guys really were impressive. And some of our players made it to the pros. They played for the Baltimore Ravens and stuff like that. Yes.
And Damascene nowadays it's it's very few. Like, you don't see the youth outside like we used to.
Yes.
Riding their bicycles or at the different parks, or they're in the house and they're playing those violent games.
Yes.
Well, they're playing games. I can't say they're all violent, but
yes.
They're playing games, and they're not, they're not socializing with each other. They're not learning anything except playing those games. And I can't help but think that may have a part, like in all the violence that's going on. You see it and you say, I can do that, and so they get involved in that.
Yes.
They get involved in that kind of thing. My message to the youth is that you need to get off those games. Now, my little son always tells me, well, I want to be a gamer. Yeah, you want to be a gamer, but right now you guys go to school, and you got to do good in school, and you got to learn. You got to ride your bicycle. You don't have time to be.
Yes.
And it's and sometimes I'm tired, and they go in the game, and I say, oh, thanks for the games, because I'm really tired.
Yes.
But then it's a time that you have to get them off too.
Absolutely.
And get them involved in things like you're talking about.
Yes. Yes. Well, growing up, one thing about this generation, kids don't go outside and play and run and sweat.
No.
So with the technology and the virtual experience, they want to escape from this world and get into the virtual world. Now, that's a good and bad thing. I love technology. I think you have to combine the two. You have to allow the children to get into some technology, but yet get out there and exercise. Go run up and down the street and be a boy or be a little girl. Jump rope, learn your neighbors, be respectful. I think those traditional values that we learned growing up need to be implemented again with these young people. And I always think that any type of program, whether it's sports, whether it's music study, whether it's any type of curriculum where children can come together and be a part of an organization, that teach them fundamental skills so they can prepare them for this world. And also teach them social skills.
Yes.
And we're lacking that. And I think that contributes to probably why the young people out here are not focused.
Yeah.
So I think all of us need to come back together. Like they said, a
together.
Village will raise a child.
It takes a village to raise a child. That's what they said.
Yes,
Take a village. Mom used to always say that to us, and that's the truth.
Yes.
Well, did you tell me that you were doing some videos or something?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Earlier in my career, I did.
I can't remember everything. You know how it goes.
No problem, Doris. Thank you. Earlier in my career, I did a video for Rochelle Farrell. It's called With Open Arms.
Okay.
It's called For Open Arms. It did a lot for my career. It was back in 1994. I shot it here in Philadelphia. It was a great experience. It gave me tremendous exposure. I played the lead in it. And the song, believe it or not, the song has a lot to do with my life. Like what happens in the video, the character that I portrayed, is very similar to what I experienced in my life. So it was a great honor. And Rochelle Farrell, like Miss LaBelle, she can hit all the different notes. Great singer.
Now, is that video on social media?
Actually, it's on YouTube. You can YouTube Rochelle Farrell With Open Arms video, and boop, it'll pop up. My assistant posted it about, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 years ago on YouTube, and we almost have 1 million viewers.
Oh my God.
Before that, the video, believe it or not, wasn't even circulating. So until she posted it, it's really out there. Almost 1 million viewers have seen this video. So I'm very grateful. And thanks, Steph Maddox. She's the best. That's my assistant. Yes.
And you've worked with some very, very powerful people.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
You really have. And it's a lot of the youth out there, adults, they're trying to get where you are.
Yes.
Because they play instruments, they're artists, they teach or play football.
Yes.
You do it all. And you have a lot of gifts that you can share with them.
Yes. Well, like I like to tell people all the time, this may sound cliche, however, believe. You have to believe in yourself. You know, I learned a long time ago during my acting studies, they used to always say, there's 1,000,001 odds to make it. However, you have to believe that you are that one. Don't believe you are the million. Believe you are that one that's in the million, and know that you're going to succeed, because there's nobody like you. And I used to hear other artists and other people who are so-called successful say the same thing. And I used to be like, that's so cliche, but it's the truth. If you truly believe in yourself, because adversity is going to hit you every day. But don't focus on the negative. Focus on the positive things in your life. Even as little as it might, like you might have a glass of milk to drink today and you didn't have nothing else in the refrigerator. And you might be like, oh, I was hungry, but you had a glass of milk. You know what I mean? Like focus and be grateful, right? Because they said a grateful person, that means you're appreciating the blessings that the Most High has given you, no matter what it is. So if you're grateful for that, I believe that you're going to get abundance of more. And it's really fundamental like that. So if you believe in yourself, don't listen to the negative people and our friends. Our so-called friends will tell us, oh, you're not going to make, you're not going to. There was a saying that actually a famous motivator speaker, Zig Ziglar, said, share not your dreams with those who share not your dreams. Not many people share your dreams. So mum's the word. Keep your own counsel. So that means don't share your thoughts.
I know, I know.
Keep it to
but
yourself.
Sometimes you get so excited.
Yes.
And you start saying, I'm doing, and they're saying, oh, she's crazy, you know.
Yes.
And it knocks you down, but you just get excited. But I've heard that too.
Yes.
Keep it to yourself.
Yes.
They get so slick with their wording.
Yes.
How's that little business that you
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that becomes a negative energy. And listen, I'm a firm believer of negative energy. So if you have a positive mindset and you believe in yourself, and just a slight word like that is almost like as you incubating your thoughts and your success. If you let people just say little sly negative stuff, you're going to absorb that, and that'll block your blessing.
Yeah.
So everything I believe is positive. You know, positive energy is real. And that's very much similar to, as people say, how they believe in God, because I believe God, or what we call the Most High, is nothing but an abundant source of positive energy. And if we understand that, and we know it's in us, then we are God-like, you know, and we will live a righteous life. I really believe in that. No matter what your faith is, I believe if you live a righteous life, you'll be like a magnet to others of other faith, and all together we on the same mission. I really believe in that.
So have you ever thought about doing public speaking?
No, I haven't. I do it.
Add that.
Thank you, Doris.
Many things that
Thank
you
you
do.
so much, Doris.
Add that.
Thank you so much. I'll be honored.
Yeah, and then what are we going to be expecting from you now?
Well, I have a major project that I'm working with my partner regarding Mr. Lucas' life and legacy.
Okay.
However, we're very close to getting it done, and I promise you, if you will have me, once we launch this, I would love to come back on the show and share more about it.
I would love to have you.
Yes,
because
thank you, Gilbert.
We invite our artists back because we want to keep up with them.
Absolutely.
And our friends and family, Facebook, they want to keep up with you too.
Oh, thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
So, and we do a lot of postings, like your videos and your photos and all that.
Thank you.
And they always want to know, so what is he doing? This is what he was doing last year. What is he doing?
Thank you so much.
So you're always welcome to return.
Thank you.
And let us know what you're doing. Now, probably when I see you again, you'll be working with somebody else. You know?
I'm grateful.
You'll be working with another legend.
Yes.
And,
yes. Well, you know, speaking of the legend, one of my mentors is actually, her name is Alvinia Bridges.
Okay.
She lives in New York City. And Alvinia was someone early in my career that took me under her wing. Now, some people say, well, who's Alvinia Bridges? Well, Alvinia used to be the PR person for the Rolling Stones.
Oh, God.
So you remember the Benetton campaign back in the 90s where they had Benetton, it was a clothing. They used to have black and white. She was one of the first persons that instrumented using a lot of white and black models, bringing them together, like bringing the world together. And she was she learned a lot about concert production, and she was someone who really kept me focused and schooled me in the industry. So I owe a lot of respect to Alvinia Bridges. And Pat Evans. You heard of Pat Evans?
No.
Pat Evans was one of the, okay, she was a legendary model from the 70s.
Okay.
You remember Isaac, matter of fact, Isaac Hayes had a famous album where he's bald-headed and he's got this emperor outfit and he had a model with him.
Yeah.
That was Pat Evans. She became an international black model, and Beth Ann Hardison, Kadeem Hardison mother, was one of her models. So these are the women and people that kind of groomed me, and I learned from. So yes, you're right.
Wonderful.
I learned from a lot of legends.
So your career is just beginning, because if you know all those people, you're going to be involved in a lot more stuff.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I'm grateful. And also Kathy Hughes. I forgot to mention.
Hughes.
Yes, because Miss Hughes, just a tidbit, because Miss Hughes was very supportive with the football program. She allowed her radio network, which was Radio 1 in Philadelphia, to do a lot of advertising and promotion for our games and stuff. And she actually attended one of the games and came to see us perform. So Miss Hughes, Kathy Hughes, who's now, of course, TV1. And quick little story, we had a television show, which is called Living It Up with Patti LaBelle, that launched on TV1. And at the time, TV1 only had, Tom Joyner had a show, and she had a bunch of reruns, and it was Patti LaBelle's show. And those three shows pretty much spearheaded the network. And look at TV1 now.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and then backstory was Kathy Hughes and Miss Pat's younger sister, Jackie, were best buddies. So they were like, so I just thought it was only a natural fit when we got the opportunity to go to a TV network. We picked TV1 because of that relationship. Yes. So learned a lot.
how, since you work with all these people, I mean, how do you feel about this? I know you're blessed.
Oh, I'm grateful.
I know, and you learn a lot from these people, things that you've learned, these artists, professionals, that's going to move you forward.
Yes.
And then you can share a lot of this learning
Yes.
with the youth, adults, and all coming up today.
Yes.
Okay. What inspirational words do you have for them today? Because there's, this show is seen all over the world.
Yes.
And we want to leave with some inspirational words
Yes.
to our followers.
Yes. Well, I will honestly say, if you're fortunate enough to have parents in your life, love your parents, be a respectful person, love those around you, be generous in your heart, try not to keep bitterness, try not to be vindictive, and really focus on positivity. Even in despair, even when things look dark or look like you have no hope, believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really what I want to just share, leave with people. Believe that it will get better. Like if you look at when you're in the hospital and you see the heart rate, it goes up and down.
Yes.
Life is like that. Life is never going to be up all the time. It's going to drop down. But when it drops down, still believe. This is when you need to be even stronger, because you're going to rise again. And I think that if we understand that when things are not going well and we're down, just believe, keep believing that it will get better. It will. Not just believe in it, but do all the proper things in preparation
to make it better.
To make it better. Absolutely. You got to do something positive.
I agree with that. I certainly agree with that, because when you do that and you believe, I don't think you can fail.
That is true.
And you only fail when you stop believing and you stop doing.
That is true.
Like I hear people say, well, I fail. You fail because you stopped. You just stopped. But I want to thank you for coming on the show
thank
today.
You, Doris. I'm honored.
And we want to keep up with your progress.
Thank you.
And your career.
Thank you.
You send us all these videos and photos.
Yes, I will.
And you stay with Billy if you can.
Oh, Billy is great.
Because he's running all over the place.
Yes, Billy's great.
But stay with him. Stay connected with T and all those other people.
Absolutely. Thank you, T Life.
Yeah, and all those other people that you mentioned. Stay with them.
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
Okay, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, if you don't call us, I will call you. Okay.
Yes, Doris. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for being on the show.
It's a
tonight.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
you
you
for having
Damascene.
me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Listen to the artist.